All right. So, what did you just briefly? What did your sort of what did you kind of explore around with? Did you write? Did you sort of
So
have
I
some
played
manuals
with
or improvising?
yeah. So instead of so it was like kind of a motif going on.
Mhm.
Um, I was playing around with doing it more like how Adelita was. So instead of going, I was more like.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
started liking that a little better. So
Okay.
I started playing around more with.
Ah.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of like that
Nice.
better. And
Okay.
then after that, I was playing around with kind of coming up here like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of going back up here to start that section again. So
Awesome. I like it. Yeah, I really like it. You've got a bit more thematic unity in there now, as you've sort of picked up on, because
yeah,
that descending. And it's really nice to hear that kind of echoing in those different regions on the guitar, sort of like mid, high, and then low.
Yeah.
And then even in the next bit, you sort of have it. I think you sort of did something like that. Could you play that fourth bar?
Yeah, and this part is the so what goes, and I have been struggling with this transition piece, but it's like, and then I'm trying to figure out how to go back, and what I was coming up with was something like this. Yep. Then it would be B A G A B C, and then sliding up to the G.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me get my screen up here for you. I think I've got it here. The revisions. Get a bit closer.
Wow, you're fast.
Yeah, I was just transcribing as you went. So there are the little changes. So yeah. And then keeping that the same. That's the only bar that I think is remaining the same. Nice. Yeah, I like it. I like it. We could even have that slur there to keep that motive going. Maybe nice to put a chord on that A possibly as well.
That was I wasn't sure what to do there.
Yeah.
And because like how you have it written there, it's just a quarter note, but I had that E as a half note.
Oh, okay. I think you have the E as a half note.
But I guess Tarraga uses a quarter note in that.
Yeah, I think what we want to do is transform the melody a little bit. If you want to do this, if you want to, well, we could always change it. But yeah, to sort of keep that idea of changing the melody just a little bit there to bring it to the transition, which is then really very different to everything else. But so that A, the function of that A is really the melody, the end of the continuation of the melody, I guess there.
Yeah.
So we could. Now, so one flaw about this third bar here is that it should be a dominant chord. We have, if we think of the the notes of a dominant chord in E minor, we need a B, D sharp, and an F sharp. So we're missing the D sharp in there, and it's a pretty important note to have because it's the third in the chord. It's the third note above the root, and that's one that's sort of essential to have. So we could. One option is we could add that below the A.
Yep.
D sharp. Right. So there's an idea. We could even add. We could. No, it doesn't really work. Oh, that's nice.
Yes, I'd be adding
That's
the
kind of
C
nice.
in addition to that.
Yeah, I like that. That's a nice melody, actually. If you go from the E to the C instead, that's a beautiful leap. Because actually, that's something else that would be missing. We don't really have many leaps in the melody, except, I mean, sort of here.
Right.
Except that this is you sort of hear it like the A, the G is it's still a close note to the A. It's just down an octave.
Yep.
So it still has this kind of a scale like relationship there.
Yep.
But that's a really nice leap from the E to the C, and then something that's really important when you do have a leap is to balance out the motion. So it's actually really good because you have this here descending, so you're actually filling in. So when you have a leap, our ear wants to fill in the notes that we've just missed out of, and you actually do that here. And our ear likes to do it in the opposite direction. So this is an ascending leap, and then here you've got descending motion filling in. It's perfect textbook like composition right there. Really good. Fantastic. Yeah. So this should work really well. Do you wanna have a play?
Yeah.
Do you wanna have a play of these 4 bars? See what you think.
Sure.
Is it clear? Can you see that?
It is.
Zoom in a little bit more. I don't think you're on your phone, so.
Yeah, I know I am.
Very small.
Actually, I tried writing it out a little bit too, so we're actually we're pretty close to what I have written out.
All right, cool. Yeah, great. Okay.
This doesn't sound quite right, but let me try again. Yeah, I'm not sure that chord's working.
You don't like that chord? Okay.
Does it sound kind of weird?
It could be maybe modified a little bit. If you bring out the C more, maybe that will. If you try to, really highlight that C. But. If we go back to what we had before. Okay, we'll have to think about that. What would happen if we took out the? Let's see if the melody, if you like that melody, can you try it without the harmonization?
Yeah.
What do you think of that leap? Did you prefer the A? Excuse me. Did you prefer the A there, or?
Yeah, for some reason I'm preferring the A.
That's fine. Yeah, it still is a leap. So,
but But yeah, the A feels a little lonely.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it is a little lonely at the moment. So we need some kind of. That's nice. The F sharp. The F sharp.
Yeah, that's the F sharp.
What if we did this? This is changing things up a little bit, but I don't know how you feel if we add what you did, and if I make a little suggestion about that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad? Okay,
No.
cool. I also like that because it sort of implies maybe an accent on the third beat.
Yeah.
Talked about shifting accents being an important feature. So, okay, maybe we can always, revise things later. But I think that's the first 3 bars for now.
Okay.
Pretty solid. The 4th bar I really like. I'm a little bit. I think maybe we could play around with this last note of it to connect to the melody again. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I've just copied and pasted those 4 bars. We'll change that.
Yeah, I think if it's the last note, yeah, it's just that whole 4th measure is kind of one I was playing around with and not ever 100% happy with.
Okay, all right, okay, cool, okay. It's probably, I think what it is that it's too, I mean, it's good that it descends and it goes back up, but it's all by step. So I think it probably needs a leap in there somewhere. I think that might just by adding a leap somewhere, that might be enough to make it sound sort of a bit more fitting. Oh, that was nice. You should put an E there. See that was. Did you just do that with an E at the end? That's already quite nice. It just has a nice flow to, probably because it creates a triad.
Yeah.
B, E, and then you get the G.
Yep.
There. And it adds, and as I mentioned before, it adds a leap there, even if it's just at the end like that. Yep. It just gives a bit of contrast to it. Okay, all right. I think let's try just adding there's some kind of ending to this measure here.
Okay.
So we want to end it on. We want to have E in the bass. I think that's probably the only prerequisite. I think there. What am I doing? Oh gosh, sorry. What's going on? Command down. There we go. So I'll have that E as a 4th voice.
We could just
so you can play around with
different Taraga's ending and just do that E and then a little chord.
You could, yeah. But I feel like because of this, the
shifted accent
requiring just these notes.
Yeah.
it's requiring, what does Tariga end on? There it is. Tariga ends on. So it goes from it's.
Oh, so that's that chord right there on the third beat's pretty key to setting up the ending.
Yes, that's right. It leads well to that voicing of that chord leads well to that voicing of that chord. Whereas I think this chord I think goes perhaps better to a different sort of an E minor chord. And it doesn't have to land on E minor straight away. For example, sometimes carrying these notes over can be pretty neat. Like if you just did that, if you did that and then resolved it to E minor somehow. Do you want to try that? See what that effect is?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Oops.
Yeah, that's the idea. So we don't have to do it exactly like that, but that's sort of what that's if you want to sort of decorate the end a bit more, that's one way to do it.
Yep.
That's kind of like what we call a suspension. That would be the preparation of it. That's the suspension because those notes don't fit over the harmony, and then the notes resolve at the end. So that's just an option. You can play around with it. Yeah, because sometimes the way we end a section, it can have quite a dramatic impact on the whole section. So there's something to play with. You could also, another thing you could do is just play with ending it on a straight E minor chord somehow. It's just about, you probably want to find a voicing that's close to these notes. So you want to maybe play around with that right now. See if you can voice.
I'm stuck on your suspension though.
Well, you could try something like that, and then you could do like harmonics on the 12th fret.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Or maybe you don't want that G there. Something like that. That's another option that you can sort of play around with a little bit.
Okay.
That's keeping the harmony sort of just simply E minor. Or you could do it just open strings without the harmonics. Many different options. I think that's one of those places where you can sort of play around with.
Okay.
A few different options.
What is that chord that he's using there on that third beat right before the ending? I think that was like an augmented or something.
I think what he's just doing is he's adding a dissonant note above the chord. So if you look at the two notes below the G, you've got the A and the D sharp. So in terms of B7,
yep,
those notes fit. So yeah, it's like you hit if you resolved that G down to F sharp, it's sort of what his sort of what he's implying, but he's taking away the resolution, which creates that kind of tension there on the third beat.
Yep.
So perhaps we could. I mean, we could. That could be different to the first time as well. We don't have to copy and paste it exactly the same. That third beat could change this time, or we could think of some way of spicing it up a bit more, like Targa's sort of done.
Well, I will play around with that piece. So.
Let's play. Yeah, have play around with that. Yeah. And that ending, there's so many ways you can sort of end a section. So it's, I think, a matter of trying, just sort of taste testing, trying out different ideas and seeing what, the thing about composing too is, for example, if you listen to Barrios, his recordings, he has like different versions of his pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he would change. So, you never, like, because you're right, this is your composition, you don't have to, like, there's no sort of necessarily a completely finished product. You can always be sort of changing things a little bit constantly, like, or it could be a temporary revisement. You could just sort of, this time, one certain time you play it, you just feel like doing something a little bit different to another time. So that ending, you could have multiple options as to how you end it. That's sort of the beauty of composing something yourself. You don't have to. There's no like. It's totally your choice. Everything is up to you. So, yeah. And I think other composers have had a similar kind. Some composers were very sort of, the last decision was the final decision. Some composers had that sort of attitude, but some composers were much more flexible, and things like that ending, they'd sort of be like, oh, this time I'll do it this way, another time I'll do it another way. So
yeah, I've seen some modern pieces. I think I had a book by Benjamin Vettery. Is that his name?
Yeah, Benjamin Verdery. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, some of his pieces were like that, like up to the player or something. It would have all these slides, and yeah, it was extremely free for the guitarist to choose.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I think we have a good, really good start here for the A section.
Okay.
Another thing we might want to think about before moving on to the B section is ornaments as well, because that's an important part of the style. And so we have, we've talked about some of the different options that Tariga has. We have the slides, the glissades that he uses, and then we have the mordant, the upper mordant he uses at that transition bar there.
Yep.
But let's see, he's pretty sparing. Like, he's not using too many ornaments, but enough that they, they're sort of a feature of the section in a way. Yep. So that's another thing you could experiment with. You could try an upper mordant on that B, for example. which would I think that would be very nice.
Yeah. It's not really enough room to slide there at the end, I would guess.
Oh yeah, that's slide
from the E to the G, maybe.
Oh, you could slide from the B to the E though.
Oh yeah.
Yep. On the third string. Or on the second string. Yeah. I think on the third string might be nice. You could get a really chunky sound.
Yeah.
A really rich, sort of thick sound there.
Yep.
And
if we're doing that mordant, it would make sense to do it on the third string anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you could do it on the second string too. But it would be nice. It probably would be nice to hear all that whole phrase all on the third string, and you get that sort of thick, velvety sound.
Yep.
And that's something we can. That's another thing that can be a little bit changeable with fingerings. You know, I guess it doesn't have to be set in stone, but it's important to think about the effect that the fingerings you choose have.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that. If you were on the third string where you're ending up on that E, then the natural thing to do would be to play the G on the second string.
On the second string, yeah.
And now you're playing it on a different string than the first time. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah, well, it's up to you really. Like if you like that, then there's nothing wrong. There's no like right or wrong. It's really about down to your judgment and your taste, your preference, really. So but there's lots to play around with. These things. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna put. Where are the signs for mordant? I'll have to. How do I do that? It's been. I'm a little bit embarrassed because I can't remember how to add those to the. I'll have to look it up. For now, I'm going to use the signs, but I'll look into that after the lesson, and I'll send you the version with the ornaments looking like what Tariga has, because I think it's nice that way.
Okay.
So for now, we'll do that, mordant, and then slide. I think I can do that with bliss. That kind of does that for the bliss there. Okay. All right. So we have a couple ornaments, which is good. Maybe would you like to have a play of all this, and let's see what we think.
Oops.
All right. Beautiful. Nice. Could I have a try? If you
please.
Play through? All right. pretty beautiful. I enjoy playing it. I think there could be a couple of little adjustments.
Yep.
I'm thinking in the third. I think it might be the third bar. I don't know if you're feeling that too.
Yeah.
Possibly that as well, but overall, I mean, it's very enjoyable to play. Like it feels very satisfying to me to play that. Like I feel like there's a lot of really nice expressivity in the melody, and it's quite easy on the hands to play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not super simple. Like there's enough complexity for it to be interesting. It's interesting to play.
Yeah.
So but I think off to a really good start. So let's maybe next week we'll start looking at the B section, composing the B section, sketching it out, similar kind of process. And meanwhile, if you could also play around with the A section, see what you come up with, and we can come back to that as well.
Okay, sounds good.
So I think it's off to a great start. It's a beautiful. It's got a really good potential. So I'm excited to see how the B section turns out, and that can also sometimes that can affect what comes beforehand. It's a really weird process composing, like that's what you compose later on sort of can revert backwards and influence what you've done in the past. It's so really cool. All right.
Great.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I will work on that. Thank you
All right.
so much.
Yeah, keep it up. Sounding great. Great stuff. Really, really fun to work with you. All right.
Okay.
All
See you
right.
next
Have a good one. All right. See you next time. Bye.